Alrighty, so we saw the Belko experiment. That's what it's called, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, that's a whole trip and a half with that movie. That was something I was not expecting from that.
Yeah, I went in with mixed kind of like impressions from the trailer and like the little promos I've seen around my movie theater. We went to Jeff's today. I like your seats better, I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah.
It was
We got
pretty
the nice
comfy.
reclining ones.
Yeah, the Dream Loungers or whatever.
Yeah.
We're a few steps behind, but we got more auditoriums and more seats in the auditoriums. So.
Ooh, flexing. No.
No,
But-
it's just
no, I
it
know.
is what it is.
Yeah. There's good and bad parts to each one, but
Yeah, absolutely.
I
I kind of was like, this is probably going to be along the lines of like Saw.
I was thinking like The Purge, yeah.
The Purge in terms of its tone, and it's kind of like it has a good premise.
Mm-hmm.
The execution wasn't there, just like both of those movie franchises, in my opinion. As a whole, I mean, I'm a big sucker for Purge 2 Anarchy.
Mm-hmm.
That kind of like went with the Purge idea and then made it a lot better than what the first and third movies in that franchise represent. The first two Saw movies were pretty solid, but the rest of them got crazier and crazier.
Yeah.
This fits right in with those.
I mean, I always saw the trailers for The Purge, and I thought they would be executed well. The only one I actually saw was Election Day, which was...
That's the worst of the three.
That's the worst one. I don't know, I mean, I went in there... I had a little bit higher expectations than Nate, and I honestly thought it was an alright movie. It delivered in some senses. Like you said earlier, it was more of a guilty pleasure type. It struck in some very weird ways, but it was overall, like, I actually enjoyed it.
I'd say like it wasn't a bad watch. Like
Yeah.
I definitely would recommend like maybe like a rental or maybe like if you're like in a few months when it's on Netflix and you're chilling around with your friends. If you're a bit older, if you're like you want to make a drinking game out of it.
Yeah, there are so many things.
There's
to do
a few little tropes, cliches that you could definitely make a drinking game out of.
for sure.
But overall, it was there was not much in terms of rewatchability and in terms of like a message or a meaning.
Yeah, I mean, I noticed like this is more like this when I work at a movie theater. How I can kind of like judge things is like, would I see it for free because I get to, or would I go and pay for it? There's movies I would go back and pay for. That's not one of them, honestly. It was fun to see, but there was also just like I don't know. I didn't feel the like satisfaction of like Logan, which I would have paid 3 times to see. I love that movie. It's great with the execution, but like this one's kind of just like it was all right. It was a fun Monday night.
What it comes out to is if you're a person who goes and sees a movie a week, this isn't that movie you're going to see this week. That would be Beauty and the Beast.
Yeah,
and if you missed a week, it would be Logan or Kong, and if you missed another week, it would be Get Out.
Yeah.
So this is like the 5th movie on the list of movies to go see right now.
It's not the worst movie.
No.
That's good. That's not the worst movie in theaters. That goes to table 19 right now.
Yeah. Its tone it had a hard time trying to figure out what its tone was trying to be.
Yeah.
Because there were definite moments that were genuine, like, thriller, kind of like, getting into characters, like, psychiatric or, like, psychology.
Their brain,
and, like, figuring out, what would be enough to turn a person that wouldn't kill to a person that would kill. But it only touched on that subject.
It didn't really delve into it.
No.
You would figure with this movie that they would like really go into like the psychiatrics of like the human brain and all that stuff, but they were just saying, "Oh, it's this experiment. It's this whole like the whole movie is the Belko experiment. Like everything's about that."
Right, and then at the same time, it had comedic moments and it had like intentional comedic characters, but it wasn't like a laugh out loud funny. It was like a nice little like chuckle and like it wasn't like over the top, like they were trying to make this a comedy. Like it wasn't a dark comedy.
No.
While simultaneously it also didn't have I don't know, the over the top like gore and like
I mean there was still
there
gore,
were good
but
scenes with like people's heads getting crushed in like multiple times, like hit, or you know, this movie wasn't afraid to hold back in terms of the blood.
Yeah, like they put a lot of like overall with the movie. I don't know what the exact budget was, but they put a lot of good money into like the actors. They were overall pretty good. There were some theatrics we'll get into that were okay.
I think the acting in general is pretty bad in this movie, but I think what it comes down to is it comes down to the direction. Because I don't think the director knew what movie he was making. I think the director was like, I've read the script, and the script says a lot of people die, mass murder, so we can kind of think of it as like a Purge meets Battle Royale meets Hunger Games kind of thing.
I think he was thinking of that.
Then that's what he was going for. But I bet you the script reads a lot more dark comedy, maybe almost satire. Mm-hmm. And it just was like, oh, we're going for thriller of the week here.
Yeah. The thing is that I noticed, it was like, with the budget, I don't know how much went into CGI, but it was like nothing. Because some of I know that's not what the movie was about, but just like when they're looking at like the building, and they have like metal sheets covering the windows and everything. It looks really bad at some points.
It looks like shit. It looks like this movie was rendered in Final Cut.
Yeah, it really did.
And
it wasn't.
There's nothing like necessarily bad about that, but when I'm watching a movie that probably had a budget of $12 million, I'm going to
search it up.
Yeah, you want to search it up. I'm pretty sure that's probably what it was.
I'm going to say 15. No, I'm going to give it 10 actually.
It's probably in that $10 to $20 million budget. The actors in it are all pretty solid. It's mostly B-listers.
Yeah, but they had a couple, like Woody Harrelson. It was like, great, but
that
he was in it
Woody Harrelson. That was
not Woody Harrelson.
Michael Rooney? Is that his name?
Yeah.
Merle from The Walking Dead.
I don't know why I thought Woody Harrelson.
He's also that one dude from Guardians of the Galaxy. He plays Yanu. He's a great character actor. He's just an example of one. I recognized the main dude. He's in a few comedies. Mm-hmm. The guy from Scrubs. He's just creepy in this movie, but he's still kind of funny in a creepy. Yeah. He's over the top. Yeah. And there's a few other guys like him, like that one dude that's like sobbing at his like wife and kids, and he's writing a suicide note, and then he's hiding in the fridge.
Yeah, hiding in the freezer.
That guy was the most theatric in terms of
for sure.
What you're talking about.
So actually, the budget was $5 million for this. That is decently less than what I thought they were going to.
I forgot this is one of those Blumhouse movies. I don't know how familiar you are with Blumhouse Productions. I think his name is Michael Bloom. Don't quote me on that. He's the head of the studio. Mm-hmm. They put out a horror movie a month, and sometimes they'll make a bigger risk and they'll do an endeavor that's a bit more expensive. But most of the time, they keep the budgets way low.
Yeah.
Their most successful franchise is the Paranormal Activity.
Oh wow.
Which they threw $75,000 at in 2007, and that movie made like 129.
That really just
140 million or something like that.
Took the
and so what they're able to do is they're able to make these really really cheap horror movies, put one out a month, and then like 1 out of 30 of them will make a gigantic profit. Mm-hmm. Everything else just makes a little small profit.
Yeah.
Essentially, it's cheap filmmaking done pretty well.
I mean, with this one I saw advertisements for this one back in like December. I was like, whoa, but I forgot the name, and then it came back like 2 weeks ago. I'm like, oh, that one, I remember that.
Yeah. I was trying to figure out when they'd probably release this one, because I did see a trailer. I think it was almost back in November.
Yeah, somewhere in that time.
When I saw a trailer, and I was like, well, this obviously isn't coming out in the next month or so.
No.
It's not a December movie. It wouldn't make its money back.
No. This one will probably make its money back, but that's about it.
Yeah, it'll make $5 million is nothing in terms of box office.
It'll probably make, I'm going to say 15 probably.
It'll turn a profit. I thought the budget was, 12, 15 million.
I thought it was going to break even, but no, they'll make some money.
It's gonna, yeah. They probably spend another $3-4 million on advertising alone. Mm-hmm. Maybe even more than that. I would.
It was this is one of the ones I've seen really well advertised. Like, this is a decently, like, this was up there, not like Beauty and the Beast advertised, but this is like, but this one actually had like a lot of advertisements to it. So I don't know. They went out there and really put this one out because they were confident in it after actually putting that money out there for it.
Yeah. So I'm sure it'll break even past the initial budget, and once you get into the publishing and the distribution, that kind of stuff, the advertisements. It'll probably still break even. It'll probably go a few million over.
Yeah.
Which it deserves to. It's pretty solid all the way around. It's a good guilty pleasure watch, like I was saying. It's a good, like, turn it on with, like, your friends. Like, if you, me and the guys from the Career Center were all hanging out, this would be a great one to throw on in the background.
We'd
make
have a
jokes
lot of
at it, that kind of stuff. Yeah. I really wish there was no one in our theater. Cause
you and I would have been.
There were so many opportunities to make good jokes at this movie.
For sure. Like, him and I were, like, whispering, but, like, yeah, there was a few decent ones we could have gone for, but I mean,
I would love to make a spoof of this movie and call it the Belko Experiment.
We really should. If any of these boys are watching, I hope we actually end up doing this.
That would be really funny.
This would be.
It would. We could make it. We could execute it. Connor can render some effects that look just like that.
Yeah, pretty much.
I have a feeling deep down he could.
We'll have a budget of $50.
He and I were joking around in the X-Men Apocalypse video, which he and I put out in probably May of last year.
I think I remember that.
Yeah. He was like, yeah, half these effects look like I could push them out myself, and
I'm sure he could. He has so much talent.
Yeah. The tone it really wasn't all that great. It didn't know what it wanted to be. And like I was saying, the guy he's over the top crying, he hides in the freezer. He was one of the many people that was like, what the hell was this? Like, you could tell that guy had no direction.
Yeah.
That guy had no direction.
Yeah.
There's no way the director was like, okay, you act as over the top as you can, while everyone else is somewhat grounded in reality. There was the stereotypical gay guy who was really over the top too. I
didn't mind him.
Yeah, he played the part. He played the part well. Had a good few funny lines at the beginning. I liked when he's over the intercom initially, and he's like, "It's Jesus." Yeah. I thought that kind of stuff was funny. The stoner guy, he was.
Oh my god, he was probably my favorite character.
He was probably my favorite too.
Because he was just like, it's in the water, just like going at it.
Yeah, he comes up with like 9 conspiracy theories, and then, like, the last one actually makes sense.
Yeah, the last one actually
taking
worked.
The bombs out of the heads of the people that didn't die.
Yeah, it actually ended up working. Like,
and it comes around in the end.
Is this a spoiler?
Yeah, we can go ahead and spoil whatever we want.
So the guy actually, like, there's all these crazy methods, like saying that the water's poison and all that. So essentially, what they have is not. They're all trapped in the building. And they say, like, you have to kill this many people in this amount of time. And so, like, they don't kill anybody in the first half hour, so they end up killing 2 people. But these weren't bullet wounds.
When their heads just explode because they had to get the chip in the back of the head.
It's like a fucked government experiment. It's really weird how it comes across, but it's actually kind of cool. I mean, the whole method of it, I guess you would say, like the whole theory. I don't know. I mean, I thought it ended up coming out pretty alright with it, but I mean, at the end, like, they literally killed everybody. Literally everybody that was in it. The entire thing, from start to finish. Everybody that you see is not probably. Everyone
died except the main guy.
Yeah, except for the main guy, and then it, like zooms out and there's like multiple Belko experiments just all over the place.
Yeah, and I think they'll do the same thing they did with the Purge and all that, and make this like a anthology kind of, like, they aren't really connected, but they'll be in the same universe. Other Belko experiments around the country or around the world, really. This one takes place
this one like Russia, like
it was Brazil,
Europe.
right?
Yeah, this one took place in Colombia. No, was it? Either way, it's one of the South American countries. Yeah. But it's like they all work for this, and they're all like shipped down there. They get their like own company car and everything, and it's apparently like this whole government sanctioned thing where they give them like all the fundings and everything. They don't really have a set point. They just all kind of go at it with their jobs. They don't even state what their company actually does. They just Is it like a surveillance company? Like, I really don't know.
I don't think it's important.
No,
I
it's not.
think you could kind of say that the Belko industry is like does something different at every location, and that's why they're able to pull in different crowds of people. The setup is pretty interesting when they reveal, like, you know, he goes across to the hangar at the end, and then when they reveal the dude with like the scarred face, I was like, oh, is this going to be like the Jigsaw of this franchise?
Oh, yeah.
And is he going to be like the mastermind of it all?
And then
he just kills them all. And you know, I really don't think that scene was really well executed, seeing as how, like, sure, he was able to catch them off guard, but he revealed that he had planted bombs on them. So immediately the two guards with guns should have shot, and they didn't. So I don't know. I guess it was kind of just a way to, like, oh, look at that. The main guy did it after all.
And then it ended up being like, oh, wait.
He's still fucked. Cause
it looked
like
entire...
it looked like they had, like, another, like, probably 50, 60 other...
Yeah, it was like, some of them were the same, but, like, overall, it looked like probably, I'd say, 30 different, like, Belko experiments all over the world.
And then I was wondering, well, is the next one going to be they pick the winner of all of them? And then it's, like, another battle royale with the top of the top, but it's, like... in this guy's scenario, he's not a killer. He didn't kill anyone until the last 2-3 minutes of the movie, and that's because he had to.
Yeah, and like the thing is, like with some of the killings, like some were just like straight bullet wounds to the head. Like okay, that ended up being normal, but then some were just the most theatrical killings. Like the security guard gets stabbed, and he just like flopping all over like a dead fish. That was kind of funny. But then the final killing, when he finally gets like the boss, he like picks up the roll of tape. And just slow motion, like...
pounds it into his head.
Yeah, just like
guy from Scrubs dies a similar way with the axe, and it goes in his head like 6 times or something like that.
Yeah, they did a pretty good job, like with the gore there. And
the gore there, I felt like that was almost practical. Like there had to have been some object that they were crushing there.
Yeah, for sure.
Painted and made up to look like his head.
Yeah.
A lot of the head explosions at the beginning, which were some of the better kills in my opinion in terms of catching people off guard. It was like there's one guy on the roof, or a girl next to the stoner guy on the rooftop. He's mid conversation, mid conspiracy speech, and then her head just blows up. And those were the few kills that caught me off guard.
That was the one I was like, oh.
Yeah, I think one of the first reviews on this channel was for a movie called The Green Room, and it was.
I remember this one.
I don't know if you saw my whole rant about it, but it was a psychological thriller, kind of in tones of this. A group of punk rockers are trying to find a gig. They're poor, and so their friend books them this place at a club, like a neo-Nazi club, and their punk rock resonates with the neo-Nazi group. But they witness one of the neo-Nazis just killing a whore or a crack whore or something, and then they get locked up in the room, and the neo-Nazis are just like, we gotta kill these kids. Well, it's kind of like, it goes on to be like a much longer psychological thriller about, these 3, 4, 5 punk rebels essentially killing a bunch of neo-Nazis led by Patrick Stewart. Sounds crazy, but it
actually sounds kind of funny, I'm not gonna lie.
It's a great movie.
Will that be another guilty pleasure type?
No, that's a genuine good movie.
Really?
The cinematography, out of the park. The tone knows what it wants to be. It's dark, but it's still got its few funny moments.
So then what was your rant
It's a better executed about this movie. The rant was, and the reason I bring it up, is that movie knew what it wanted to be. Mm-hmm. It was a similar low-budget feel. I think it had a budget of $7 million or something like that. So it's very close to this. And then most of that money went to Anton Yelchin. Unfortunately, he's dead, no longer with us. And Patrick Stewart, the two stars of that movie. Mm-hmm. That's probably where a majority of the budget went. But that movie knew what it wanted to be in terms of tone. This movie really had no clue.
Yeah.
The direction was just kind of all over the place. Yeah. And they put a bunch of great B-list actors in roles and just told them to do what you will. And that's something I appreciate. This is definitely like a...
more of an improvisation.
Improvisation in terms of, actors. But it really kind of hurt the movie as a whole. Because there were characters that the script made seem really significant. Mm-hmm. Like the 2 Hispanic girls, the one that's the love interest, and then the one who's doing a lot behind the scenes. And she was kind of cool. You're kind of rooting for her.
Yeah, and then she just
she gets hired the day the shit starts.
Yeah.
You're like, oh god, what a bad first day on the job.
Yeah, really.
But at the same time, she doesn't have those connections. Mm-hmm. No one really knows who she is.
Yeah, she doesn't really she's not tied down to any of her friends.
Yeah, the cute guy that's going around with the CEO killing people. She's he lets her go and continue to hide, so she's got no connections except people just happen to know her by a face, so she's able to go around. She pretty much saves the main character by shutting off the power, doing a whole bunch of stuff behind the scenes.
And then she does so much to the stuff and everything like that. And then she's just taking the elevator down to the first floor, and then the CEO hears the bell ring. She just looks up, shoots her. I'm like, damn it, she was so close.
Right, and I felt like she didn't have many lines.
No.
She didn't have much to do. I think she had, like, 2 kills or something like that. So, like, she was killing, but it was all self-defense.
Yeah, it was nothing, like, on purpose. Like, through the neck and like, she was a very, like, not somebody that they really, I think, had a lot of detail on, but, like, she stole, I shouldn't say stole the show, but, like, you were attached to her.
Well, she had probably 20 minutes of the movie to herself, because they kept on cutting back to her doing her own thing in, like, the basement and in the elevator shaft.
Yeah.
And it's like...
She did a great job.
What's the point of this character? Mm-hmm. And you could say the same thing about the love interest. She's just there to be the main character's love interest. She kind of just goes with the flow. But
she's also there to tell off the creep in a sense, I guess.
I mean, yeah... She kills him.
Yeah.
And, like, she's one of the few characters established early on in the movie in terms of her connection and what she's got, but I thought it was going to be revealed she knew. That she knew what was going on, because she was always trying to lead the character in the way of just let them do what they do and don't draw attention to yourself. Because he got pulled out in the group to get executed. And I felt like the script had more for those 2 ladies to do in this movie, but they didn't either. They chose to end up not doing them, or they did them. They just didn't explain it. She had no character arc. She's the love interest in the beginning. She's the love interest in the middle. She's the love interest in the end. And then she dies. The other chick, she's the new girl.
Did she get shot?
She's the new girl all the way through. Yeah, they didn't show it per se, because it was revealed when the blood was coming out of her mouth that she was dying.
Yeah.
However, I totally bought that they got shot, because there's no way. They were in a tight corridor. And that one dude who was apparently, they hinted at it early on, that he was trained in close hand-to-hand combat. Yeah. And, it was they said, like, special forces agent or something like that.
Yeah. And then, CEO. Like, in the presentation, okay, so, like, in that final scene where they're, like, battling it out, there's a presentation, like, playing, because they hit a button or something like that, and they're, like, training for the most, like, crazy experiment. Like, there's very small, like, you could watch again and catch some few things, but there's, like, one scene where there's, like, a lot of info that, like, explains a lot of stuff, and nobody catches it, really, but they just, like, start explaining stuff about, like, how they train their people, what the whole thing is about, and it's, like, it's all, like, in the wording of, like, what the actual Belko experiment is. I thought that was pretty cool. It's, like, small little detail, but I enjoy those.
Yeah, I really would have liked this movie to pick one genre and kind of just run with it.
Yeah, they picked like 6 different genres. Yeah. They tried going comedy, dark, thrillers, horror, like...
Yeah. I think what would have made this movie so much better is if it was just like, okay, we want to be a thought-provoking satire about,
the office space.
About just office in general,
or like the government or something
government,
like that.
Cameras, like privacy, that kind of stuff. Maybe bring up, what would drive someone to kill, but keep it lighthearted and make it like over the top satirical. Yeah. Similar to the movie Get Out, where that was that was a satire. Whether you want
it was meant to be a comedy. Yeah, it was a very dark. It was a dark
comedy.
Yeah.
If this movie would have played to its strengths and done that, it would have been a very solid dark comedy, very solid satire, but instead,
that's also the difference between Jordan Peele and this director.
Right. Instead, it wanted to have its cake and eat it too, so it had a few of those elements, while at the same time failed on being a thriller, while at the same time just failed as being a B movie.
Yeah.
People know I'm a sucker for a good B movie.
Yeah, you really.
Like Kong Skull Island last week.
What was it? I wouldn't even call that a B. What was the one with the guy from Harry Potter? Where he's like a
Swiss Army Man?
Yeah, Swiss Army Man.
That was more of a pretentious like art movie more than it was a B movie. The whole point of Swiss Army Man is the director was like, I'm gonna make a movie about a farting zombie that's gonna be able to make people cry, is what he was boasting about at Sundance. And it didn't resonate with audiences. It split audience. It was the general audience would probably hate that movie.
If that got a wide release, it would bomb.
It did. It bombed.
I never saw it. Like, it was a very closed release. I never saw it.
We were scheduled to get it in rave. It was here.
Was it? Yeah. I never even saw it.
It was June. It was before you started working.
Yeah, it was before I started working here, but I never even saw it like on the schedules or anything.
Yeah. It closed real quick.
Yeah.
It just bombed. It's not an everyone movie. But but at least that took a stance on its tone. It knew what it was.
Yeah.
This movie has no clue what it was, and I don't know if that's a disconnect from the writer and the director, the producer, or, just Blumhouse in general wanting to spit out a horror movie, this month. Because they actually put out Get Out last month.
They put
Blumhouse. Yeah, I believe so.
Well, I mean, I know that was a
Blumhouse also
a Shyamalan film.
Yeah, they also did Split. That was also Blumhouse.
Really?
Yeah.
They are killing it recently.
They've been killing it for years. They put out The Witch last year. They put out.
I'm learning a lot of things right now.
Yeah, they put out the best and the worst of
the
horror
whole
every year.
Tilt. I've seen them on a lot. Okay.
Blumhouse Tilt, the BH, and they have like a little corner of the room.
That makes sense. Okay.
Yeah, they're a distribution studio, and they kind of like get these projects up off their feet.
And what I'm thinking is like they have a different group of writers. Like they have a writers team, and then they have like different directors. Like Shyamalan, I don't think writ Split. I think like if
Pretty sure he did.
Did he?
He writes his own movies for the most part.
Okay, maybe he gave them.
I'm 90% sure he wrote that.
That would make sense, movie. But I for a lot of these, it's like you're gonna have, if you don't have a full integration of like directors and writers, like there's gonna be a disconnect no matter what. It might be a small disconnect, but there's still going to be some because you aren't the creator of the project. You're not getting to fully express your ideals, and some writers can't do that all the way. Mm-hmm. That's where the directors come into place. But
yeah. Yeah, whatever the disconnect was, it lost itself in the tone. Mm-hmm. But all in all, it's still a good guilty pleasure watch. It's even a good rental. I would throw this movie on, chilling with my friends on the
Redbox,
weekend.
why not? Yeah.
Redbox, Netflix, whatever it be.
This would be a good Netflix movie. I'd enjoy putting this on.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I probably wouldn't turn it off. It's engaging. It doesn't have that slow of a start.
No, it's not.
It introduces characters. It starts off honestly like a sitcom.
Yeah,
and it's kind of cute. It's funny.
Yeah.
Not much to it.
Yeah. Unlike I saw Fist Fight the other day, and there was a really slow middle, and I just it was hard to get there. But this one didn't really have a slow section to me.
Yeah, the pacing in general is pretty solid. Once it gets into the head explosions, it stays on that tone for a while.
Yeah.
There's a nice long montage of head explosions, that was 3/4 of the way through the movie.
Yeah. It was a couple minutes, but it's you just hear the constant sound,
it's
slightly changing sound. It wasn't just one sound that you kept hearing over it. It was pretty good.
it was funny and kind of gross when the dude was like, "It's finally over," and then his head blows up, and Consuela, the housemaid, sees it, and blood all over the wall and what have you. That was a nice little scene.
Oh yeah,
a nice little joke, and there's that kind of stuff that this obviously knew it had dark comedic elements to it. It had kind of a satire, a jokingness to it, but then there was other scenes where it took itself way too seriously. Where Get Out took itself seriously, but it had that tongue-in-cheek kind of presence about it.
But it never lost its sense of what it was.
Right, exactly.
This one kept trying to switch.
Yeah. So we've said it 1,000 times at this point. It's worth the rental. It's worth a Netflix watch, but maybe pass on the theatrical release. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Out of a rating, are you a ratings guy?
I don't typically rate the show. I think the only times I've rated it were when you were on it.
Yeah.
Because you ask.
Yeah.
Honestly, it's a 5 out of 10. It's passable. It's good to throw on when you're watching or doing something else.
I'm nicer. I'll give it a 6 out of 10. But yeah, I agree. It's nothing.
I mean, but
it's nothing.
The reason I can't do a rating on this show.
You ruined it. It's Rotten Tomatoes ruins it.
It's not necessarily that. I would give Kong Skull Island a 9 out of 10, even though that's not a 9 out of 10 movie, because I would give Grand Budapest Hotel a 9 out of 10. I'd give Birdman a 10 out of 10.
Yeah.
But I hold Kong Skull Island to the same level
as
I hold Academy Award movies, just because it's that watchable to me.
Yeah, and it's different for everyone. Yeah. I mean, that's the whole point of critics. It's going to be different for everyone. There was people there's one guy about Get Out saying it was about the liberal media and all this stupid stuff. I'm like, did you even see the movie?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Critics get movies wrong all the time, and I don't want to call myself a critic. That's why this is just a talk show, if you will.
It's in our car. It's nothing.
No. There's no studio. There's no nothing.
You can see cars driving by. It's.
Oh, I love me a movie that knows it's bad, or that plays up campy elements. I love 80s horror movies with a $10 budget. I think even if they're not self-aware, even if it's just a straight bad movie, I still love it. Just earlier today, I was watching this movie called Night of the Demon. It's a 1983. I want to say Italian, but it was maybe just the director. It was Italian American made movie, shot on VHS. Oh God, it looks like shit. About Bigfoot, but then it turns out there's a whole cult behind it, and like one dude is taking a piss, and Bigfoot grabs his dick through the bushes, rips it out, and he bleeds out. And it's not campy, it's not played up for jokes, it's trying to be scary. But that's the kind of shit I love.
That's actually pretty enjoyable. For me, it's like, I don't know why, I'm very easily pleased by movies, and I mean, I get a lot of crap for it, but that's just me in general. I enjoy movies. I mean, like, Fist Fight, the ending was great. I enjoyed it. It was a big, like, it led up to it, but it was hard to watch. I mean, there's some things I can critique, but then there's some things, like you said, the guilty pleasures, like Star Wars Episode 7, I thought was personally one of my favorite movies, and possibly my favorite movie of all time. I will get so much flack for that, but just the whole, I'm a geek for Star Wars. I love that. And there's always going to be that. And I think that's the love of movies, is people enjoy having that piece.
Yeah, I guess you could say the Godzilla, King Kong movies of the past few years are my Star Wars. I eat those up. Those are phenomenal. So that's really the reason I don't have a rating system.
That's fair.
One thing I do bring up, though, is trailers. Did you see anything you want to watch, don't want to watch?
Chips next week, I think, is going to be funny.
Did we get a trailer for that, or are you just talking about that one?
There was a trailer for it recently.
Oh, cool,
I mean, it comes out next week. I'm going to go see it, because it has the guy from Ant-Man, who I really liked, and there was another movie.
Oh, Michael Pena?
Yeah.
Yeah, and then Dax Shepard, right?
Yeah, he was in,
he's in a lot of stuff from, the early 2000s.
Yeah,
I guess he's making a revival.
Yeah, he was in one of them about a prison, or he was, like, locked in a prison with a guy.
Was that the one with Will Arnett?
Yes.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
I actually enjoyed that. I found it on Netflix. I forget what it's called. I have no idea, but it was a fun movie. I don't know why. I love those two, and I think they're going to make a good pair. It could totally bomb, but it's also meant to be a self-aware comedy, I think. So,
well, I mean, there's a lot of movies coming up next weekend. We also got
Power Rangers coming out.
Power Rangers is going to be a pretty big blockbuster. It's going to be one of those early in the year blockbusters, similar to probably Beauty and the Beast.
If anybody here works in a movie theater,
Kong.
I'm sorry this week, because this has just been awful if you're at an understaffed movie theater, because Beauty and the Beast has just been... This is going to break box office records. I don't know when the records come out for it, but this one's just been crazy.
I think I heard at one point it was projected 180. I heard 140 million. I haven't looked at it. I don't really care. Beauty and the Beast has lost my interest. I'm not even going to see that movie.
It was not my favorite musical when I was.
It's not my cup of tea. I love the original Disney. It's cute. Yeah, Chip.
Yeah,
cup of
sorry,
tea.
It
was a good joke. I kind of planted it when I said it. It's just not. I think they're shooting themselves in the foot remaking all their animated movies. Because those animated ones hold up. I think people are going to look back in 10, 20 years and prefer to watch the 1990 animated Beauty and the Beast than they are the 2016.
They're striking with the nostalgia and they're making money. That's what they're going to do.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, do I want to see a cute hand-drawn animated movie with talking candlesticks, or do I want to see a movie where Stanley Tucci puts on 2.5 pounds of makeup and pretends to act like a cartoon? That's nowhere near as fun for me.
That's fair.
It doesn't, and I can't fathom the fact that Emma Watson is playing Belle.
Oh, I think it's an alright choice.
It's good from a publicity standpoint in terms of, I want fucking 900 billion people to come see this movie. Emma Watson's a great choice for that.
Yeah.
But in terms of acting chops, in terms of singing abilities, in terms of all of that nonsense, hell no.
That's fair.
Hell no. You'd be better off putting I don't know. There's so many better options.
I understand. What movies are you looking forward to now?
The trailers that we got for this, none of those. I'm not looking forward to any of those. We had this one about ex-wife, wife.
It looked like it was trying to be a horror, but it doesn't look like a horror
When
at
the
all.
Bow Breaks was the last one. There's a series of these movies that come out, and they are all produced by the same studio, and they're just slapped together, and they typically have mostly black actors in them because they're trying to bring in the typical horror movie crowd while also bringing in a rom-com crowd at the same, or not rom-com, but like romance, sexy thriller crowd. And they're all bad. They're all centered around marriage, domestic violence. The last one of these was When the Bow Breaks, which came out in like August, September, I think.
Yeah, I wasn't here for that. So.
They'll throw one of those around every summer, every spring, every fall.
It makes some money. I mean,
yeah, I'm trying to think of another one. Yeah, they're all the same. They're all trying to be, the fatal attraction of today, and they're all bad.
Yeah, there was that. There was Pirates, which. Now that I found out it's a prequel...
Is it 5 or 6?
It's 5.
Genuinely can't remember.
I think it's 5. But now that the fact that I found it's a prequel and
there's just like a few scenes that take place at the beginning before the first few, but then I think this also takes...
This is really good.
I was watching this trailer again. I think it takes place somewhere between like 1 and 2.
No, because it's before 1, because it's before Jack had the beard, it's before some of it does take place between 1 and 2, because and then they have new actors, because
the people that play his crewmates, that play Captain Jack Sparrow's crewmates that die in At World's End, are back in the movie.
Yeah,
so it takes place. Yeah, it's part of it's way before the original ones where Jack Sparrow's a teenager.
Yeah,
and then there's parts where it takes place before the adventures of the first one, because he's got his entire crew. He's got.
But then he's also got the I forget.
Barboza.
Yeah, Barboza.
And Barboza's in the movie before he's a dead skeleton.
Yeah.
But at the same time, there's stuff that happens after the events of the last 4. Yeah. So they're just really jumping all over the timeline from what I gather.
I feel like they're just trying to fill gaps.
I've only seen the first 3.
I've seen them all, and I've always enjoyed them. They were like what I grew up on was the first Pirates. Like we had 2 DVD players that we'd always play on the trip out to see family, and it was like 8 movies I could select. It was like Hercules, the animated one.
I love that.
Like that. I never liked it. I never did. There was like all these other ones, and then there was Pirates, and I was always like, yeah, sure. That was the one that I watched every single time, and I loved that movie to death. But I don't know how
I like the first one a lot.
How they were gonna work with it.
It was a really like Disney was like, yeah, well, let's turn our rides into movies. Why the fuck not? And
it came out pretty good.
Yeah, it was like, okay, that's cute. And then they made a franchise about it. They shot the second and third one back to back, and they came out 2 years in a row.
I didn't know they did that.
Yeah, they filmed them at the same time.
That's how they're doing Avengers right now.
Yeah.
Age of Ultron, yeah.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that makes sense because it's a part 1, part 2. And while these ones were kind of a part 1, part 2, they were 2 separate movies in like a trilogy, and then they just spit them out back-to-back summers.
You know what I'm surprised we haven't seen yet is a trailer for the new Star Wars coming out in December. Because every single time that they've had a new Star Wars, the trailers are out like a year before.
They're going to put the trailer with whatever the next Marvel movie is.
What is that?
It's Spider-Man, right? Homecoming?
Homecoming doesn't come out for a little bit.
It doesn't come out till August.
That's going to be really late.
I don't know. I stopped caring.
Yeah. Well, there's that, and then I know, the Wonder Woman's coming out.
That's DC.
Yeah, that's true. I didn't mind her in...
That would be Marvel crossing the streams. Gal Gadot is going to be the one thing that makes that movie work. She plays a good Wonder Woman. That was a good casting.
Oh, yeah, you're talking about... Yeah, I thought... I actually choose, my favorite character in the entire Batman vs. Superman, which... That's not hard. But...
Yeah. So anyway, back to the Pirates rant. I don't like Dead Man's Chest at all. The second one.
Really? That one was okay for me.
That one totally is... half wacky Captain Jack Sparrow movie and then half engaging Pirates of the Caribbean movie. They overused Johnny Depp's character. And
that's what made the first one big.
What made the first one work is that there was a good story about pirates. Then they had one really wacky guy who just kind of fucking did whatever the hell he wanted.
It was what made it big, not what made it good.
Yes, absolutely. Then the third one I liked more than the second, but it had way too much going on, and there's like a whole...
Oh yeah, there was like a hole in the ocean.
War in the sea.
Yeah, all in the middle of like a cyclone. Yeah, and that was weird.
There's a giant squid still, and it's like...
and it was all like they were fighting the squid, they were fighting like each other. Yeah, I don't know. It reminds me of The Walking Dead. They're fighting like 6 different things at once.
Right, and then
Don't even get me started on Walking Dead right now.
I haven't caught up.
I haven't either. I'm done with it right now. I can't do it.
Yeah, and then on Stranger Tides that came out like 2 summers ago. Didn't even know that came out until I
caught it like 3 months ago. It was okay. It was my least favorite, but it's okay.
I probably would have liked it more than 2 because 2 rubbed me in the wrong way the whole time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, what movies look really... Oh, yeah, they're making a Captain Underpants movie.
I'm down.
No.
It's 10.
I was fine with it when I was, like, in 4th grade and it was comics. I want to keep it that way.
It's 10 years too late, but I'd still watch it.
I don't know. I'll probably end up still watching. I work in a movie theater.
Yeah, they got another Diary of a Wimpy Kid coming out.
Yeah, I saw that. They have the posters up for that.
Is it the same kid?
Yeah, it's still the same kid.
He just turned 19.
Really?
Yeah, because I remember when the first one came out, he was a solid year older than me.
Well, I know Rachel Harris, actually. I know her nephew. He was one of my old friends. I haven't talked to him in a while, but like I had a signed book from the first movie. Like they showed like the entire production of it, and it was signed by her. And it was kind of cool to have the lady from The Hangover sign my book. But
yeah, she played the mom, right?
Yeah, she played the overbearing wife or something like that. Or
no, in Diary of a Wimpy
oh, and
Kid.
yeah, she played the mom in Diary of a Wimpy Kid.
Yeah, she's cool.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. There's a lot of movies that are gonna bring a lot of people in, but I don't know if there's any that I'm excited for Guardians. I know you're not.
Oh, Guardians 2 is the next Marvel movie.
Yeah.
They're gonna put Star Wars. They're gonna put the Star Wars trailer
I am
sandwiching that one.
really excited. I'm
excited
Guardians
for
of
it.
the Galaxy
It's gonna get a bad case of sequelitis where it's trying to repeat tones. The soundtrack in general, they're adding they're adding, music that
like old music
is gonna play off the awesome mixtape Volume 1.
Yeah.
I hope it's as solid and all the way around.
I mean, they're adding new characters. It's not like it's just like we're trying to make the same exact. They're changing enough from what I saw.
Yeah, that's Marvel for you, making more characters to make more.
So they can kill off more. Well, I mean, I thought they killed off Groot, but now there's Baby Groot.
They're not going to kill off anyone. They play it safe. They're just trying to get as many action figures sold as possible.
Well, they're trying to get as many people in. So then, for the Part 1 and Part 2 of the final Avengers, they're going to have
Infinity War.
That's going to be so many people.
It's going to be the most expensive movie ever made. I just read online.
Oh yeah, it's like $1 billion for both combined.
Each movie has $300 million budget. They're shooting them together.
Yeah.
It's a total of 7.
They were saying like after the advertisement, the entire thing's going to cost like $1 billion, but it's going to bring in like...
It's going to be like $1.4 billion.
But it's going to bring in like... just...
That's gonna
be the highest paid movie
back
ever.
to back. It's gonna be $2 billion a piece. That's my prediction.
That's so... Disney has literally capitalized on that just so well.
What they have to do is they literally just have to kill the Avengers. Kill them in that movie.
It's so many of them. It's so many of their last movie, like with Logan. What do? I mean, I know this isn't a spoiler for Logan, but if you're 41 minutes in on this episode, you probably watch movies and you probably know they killed off Logan. So they killed off everybody pretty much except for the kids. I don't know. That one's a whole nother rant that I don't know.
Yeah, I'm glad I didn't make an episode for it. I liked the movie a lot, Logan.
Yeah, I loved it, but I think I like how they're going with it, but they just, I don't know. I enjoyed it being a gritty rated R. Mm-hmm. I enjoyed that. Alright, we're 41 minutes in on this episode.
Yeah, this is a good wrap. Back to the Belko. Go see it if you want. Yeah. I would recommend waiting around for the Redbox Netflix.
100%
Good thing to throw on, yiff with your friends about. Just make little yucks here and there. It's nothing worth
nothing to take seriously.
Paying $10 for or whatever.
No, but
yeah. See you next time.